what we're going to do right now is I wanted to share with you guys, last week we talked about different city, we talked about 18 different ways of getting business. I'm going to bring up 2 others today, and these are 2 things you can literally do if you were parachuted into a town tomorrow and didn't know a soul in that town. You can work both these and just do tremendous business. So one thing you'll find from me is I'm a nice guy, I'm an empathetic guy, but I don't ever buy that people should, if people came here and didn't make money, didn't build a business. There's opportunity galore all around us as long as you know what to do. And I don't want people really doing what to share with you guys unless you're full-time and exhausted everybody you know first, okay? But if there's time in the daytime and you need something to do, this is a great thing to do to help you build your business, and it's regarding small businesses, okay? So let's talk about that for a second. If I had a couple hours and I had some time to kill, you can drive around in any road anywhere and find tons of shopping centers and strip malls. There's all kinds of different little businesses, okay? And you can literally walk in those businesses, one at the other, and here's why I know to be the case. If you're full-time, and you're not doing at least 1 recruit and 1 client per day, it's because you didn't work this. Okay? If you can't say I don't know people, you can't say it's tough, you can't say any of those things. Once you know this, there's no excuse ever again not to do at least 1 recruit and 1 client per day minimum. I'm not sure the number depends on how good you get. I would say your numbers will be enhanced in this economy because the economy is bad. But if you have to stop by 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, it doesn't matter the number. Eventually somebody's going to say yes to you. So what I would do is this. Stop by these little businesses, which there's thousands all around the area, and it's usually the owner who's there running the business. I'm talking small mom and pop shop. A little pizzeria to a store that sells trains or collectibles or whatever. It doesn't matter what kind of business it is. They're everywhere. A manicure salon or whatever. So, bottom line is, I would stop in and ask if I can get a few minutes with the owner, okay? And just say to the owner that I'm with a company that specializes in helping small business owners with 2 areas. One is helping them with their finances, get more out of less. The second thing is to help them increase their income for their business. Is now a good time to take about 15 minutes, or do you want to schedule time to give about 15 minutes? And they say, well, what do you do exactly? Well, I'm with the largest, most successful company in the world. We average 50,000 brand new clients per month. I get really specific now. And we help small business owners with their finances, lowering what they pay for debts and insurances and make sure everything's correct, as well as we can help them make more money out of the current business they're doing. So is now a good time, or you want to schedule about 15, 20 minutes? Okay? And would I call and do this? No, I would not. When you call, they can easily hang up the phone if they're busy. When you're standing in front of them, watch this. If they hang up the phone, you're still there. Okay? Your success ratio goes up multitudes if you stop by to do it. And the other thing is, where would I do this? I would do this right in the community that you live. Okay? I would pick the 2, 3, 4 mile radius near where you live and stop in and let the opening line be high. You're in business, I'm your neighbor, I'm in business as well, and I want to share with you what we do to help small businesses in the area of their finances as well as making more money. I also want to know more about what you do because we are neighbors, we are in the same community. I meet a lot of people and I'd be happy to pass business on to you, but I run across people who need what you do. And they'd be really foolish to say, no, I don't have 15 minutes. Okay, because you are out there talking to people all the time, right? So let's talk about what I would say to them. First of all, say we have 2 jobs. One is we help small business owners with their finances. The second job is we help them make more money. Let's talk about that for a second. And I'm going to teach you the concept right now, and from the concept, you'll figure out what to say. But one area we can help them in is obviously saving for their retirement. And right now, it happens to be the date of March 22nd, And April 15th is around the corner, and most small business owners don't get refunds. Most of them write checks. Okay, a lot of families and households try to file as quickly as they possibly can. A lot of small business owners try to file last minute they can because they have to write a check with their tax return, not get money back. And what they don't know is that they can actually write a check for last year's traditional IRA if they want to and get a tax deduction. And that could be for up to $4,000 last year if they're under 50 years old, and $5,000 if they're over 50 years old. And I'm talking about right now, in case the CD goes on for years, is we're talking $4,000 was the limit for 2007 if you're under 50, and $5,000 limit for 2007 if you're over 50. And if they don't have anything else going on, these amounts are tax deductible. So if you just kind of think, this person by now would probably know if they got to write a check for $12,300 on April 15th. And they're probably not excited about writing that check. And if it's, in this case, if it's a business owner and that person's married and they've got some cash on hand and they're under 50 years old, they can do $4,000 for the husband, $4,000 for the wife for last year. That's $8,000. Okay, $8,000 is tax deductible. It comes off the top of their income. So in their bracket, that's probably going to save them, let's say, at least $3,000. So now instead of writing a check a check for $12,000, they're going to write a check for $9,000. Okay? So bottom line is, here's what's neat about this. This is the only time of year right now, before April 15th, that they can't put you off very long. So if you have a security license, I'll be doing it again. We talked about this a couple of years ago, and Dan's had some success with this. I wouldn't let a minute go by that I'll stop by every small business in town and share with them the fact that this opportunity exists for them to lower what they pay April 15th by being able to write a check for last year's IRA. So hopefully that helps. A second thing we can do for them is help them lower their costs for insurances. And every business owner is always looking to lower costs. So that's what we talked about, the life insurance and the quality of our program there and lowering costs. And by the way, when it comes to life insurance, if this business owner you're talking to has a partner, then they definitely need life insurance for their family, and they may or may not have that. If they have that, we can offer a better price. If they don't have that, they definitely need some, because only thing worse than someone with a job prematurely dying is someone with a business prematurely dying. Listen to me for a second. Someone with a job prematurely dies, now the widow and kids have no income coming in. Someone with a business prematurely dies, now the business is still there the next day. The spouse and children have no idea how to run it. Okay? That business had leases and obligations and debts, and it could be a complete legal disastrous nightmare. Them going after the assets, going after the house. That owner probably signed, personally, got their spouse to sign personally for all kinds of different debts and obligations. It could be a complete mess. If that person is 100 times worse than someone with a job passes away prematurely, when someone with a business passes away prematurely. So there's a massive, massive need for that. So if they don't have it, they need it. If they do have it, man, can we do a better job for them? And they want to have, ideally, two separate policies if they're a business owner. As you're experimenting with this right now, where he's got a client where he definitely needs some life insurance for personal, and he definitely needs some for the business. And the business, if they're the owner, they can have a policy that's owned by the company, and the beneficiaries of the company, just to fund debts and stuff like that and clear that thing up if there was a premature death. So they can actually have two policies, one owned by the business and one owned by themselves with their spouse, the beneficiary. Everyone follow that? If they have a partner, they need what's called a buy-sell agreement. And a buy-sell agreement basically means this. Pretend there's two business owners, okay, and they're partners. And not only are they brothers, but they're twin brothers. Not only twin brothers, they've been best friends the minute they were born. Actually, one became friends, the other one a minute after the other one was born, because they weren't born at the same time. But this is 1 minute after the first one was born, they've been best friends, okay? And they happen to marry wives that also are sisters, they're also twins, and they're also best friends, okay? And they're thinking nothing can come between us and our business. We're twins, we're best friends, and we're everything else, okay? But the bottom line is this. Pretend the scenario takes place where they get married, have a couple kids, they have a business together, they're 50-50 partners. And one of them accidentally, prematurely dies, one of the business owners. Okay? Here's now the unfortunate situation, if there's not a buy-sell agreement in place, is now the remaining business owner has to work twice as much to make up what the other partner was doing. Is that right? And the second thing that happens now is the wife and the kids, who are the widows, have their hands out for half the money. It's not their fault. They still need to do things like eat and keep a shelter over the roof. But it's a completely unfair situation for both parties involved. Okay? It's very unfair. One person is working twice as much now and then giving out half the money to someone who's not working at all. No matter how close they were, it's an unfortunate and uncomfortable situation. Are you with me? Okay? So a solution to that is what's called a buy-sell agreement, which means basically pretend the business is worth $1 million, all right? Then each partner would buy a policy. Normally you would think for $500,000. So that in case there's a premature death, the business is the owner and the beneficiary of the policy. In case premature death, now the $500,000 gets paid out to the business. The business writes a check to the remaining widow and orphan and children and buys out their share of the business, and now it's fair. The person that had the business owner die, that family is officially bought out with cash. It's fair for them. The person who's working twice as hard now deserves twice the money because they're working twice as hard. Okay, a totally fair scenario versus a very uncomfortable, unfair scenario. Are you with me? Okay. Now, here's one little tidbit. If a family buys life insurance and the husband dies, the wife gets the death benefit tax-free. In a business, if a business owns a policy and the business is the beneficiary, the death benefit is taxable. Okay? So scratch what I said before, remember this. If the business is worth $1 million and they're each 50-50 partners, they don't need $500,000 each, they need like $750 each. Okay? Enough to cover taxes on the death benefit and then buy out the spouse. Okay? Remember that? So it's only, death benefits are only taxable if it's owned by a business and the beneficiary business. There's really no way around that. And I've seen cases where some business owners just kind of had a buy-sell agreement, but it was sloppy. It's a side deal. You know what I mean? It's where the husband owns it, the wife's the beneficiary, and you have this understanding, right? This understanding. Every legal dispute begins with this understanding that if someone dies, it's all set. They get this policy. But here's the thing: that person dies, the wife gets $500,000 from the policy, but guess what? Her estate is still 50% owner of that business. Okay? And if she feels like not signing the legal documents to remove her name for nothing, she does not have to sign. And if she's sitting down with a lawyer, that lawyer's saying, no, that business is yours, I won't sign anything. And what was a nice understanding turns into a massive dispute and a lawsuit and just not worth doing it incorrectly. You want to do things by letter of the law and do it correctly. Make sense? So that's an incredibly important scenario. Now, what if they said that, well, the truth is, I am a business owner, I don't have partners, it's me and my sons that work here together all the time, and we got it covered if one of us pass away. In that case, you still need, in my opinion, a life insurance policy. I would do it on the owner and the two sons that work there. Because I don't buy the fact that if someone dies, they'll cover it okay. If that's the case, then why are all three going to work every day? And why is it when one of those three on vacation, they're dealing with phone calls every day about the business? They don't have to do anything. They just cover it okay. Again, I don't buy that. So they still need the coverage. There's another way we can help the business owner by exposing them to those concepts and really help them out in case that situation were to arise. A third area, of course, is lowering their costs for auto and home insurance, and they definitely need that. And a fourth area is working with their mortgage and their debts on a personal basis. We do not do commercial loans, but you know what? Most small mom and pop business owners don't really separate their finances. Guess how most small businesses get off the ground? Personal credit cards. Anyone know any small business owner? You ever heard that before? Yeah. The majority of small businesses not going went to local Mr. Banker and said, here's my plan, give me $100,000. They financed it with credit cards to get it off the ground. Well, those people definitely need help with our consolidation and debt programs as well. Another thing we can do is most small businesses have a few employees. I mean, these little small mom and pop shops might have 1, 2, 3, or 4, and it's a headache for them. It really is to keep losing good employees because they can't afford to pay that much. And these employees do ask for benefits, and they just kind of say, we have none. So how do we get around that? Well, by getting, we can say to every small business, and I would use this as your opening line if you're having hesitancy with getting that 15, 20 minutes. Is worst case scenario, here's what we can do for you. Offer each and every one of your employees 2 benefits that cost absolutely nothing. Will not cost you a dime, and they'll see as tremendous value. And those 2 benefits are the following. Every employee receives a free financial needs analysis to look at their entire situation and be helped financially. And the other benefit for free is what's called a payroll deduction plan. It doesn't cost anything to the employer. It doesn't require a $5,500. To my knowledge, Primerica is the only company that offers this program called a payroll deduction plan. And that allows each employee of a company to save money from their net pay, not their gross, their net, towards whatever they want, towards a money market to save for an emergency fund, buy a house, buy a car, towards a Roth IRA, towards their kids' college education. The minimum contribution, if they ask me, I just kind of say, how often do you guys pay? And they say, we were Chuck United an appointment where I explained this to them, and they said, we pay bi-weekly. I said, great. Then you pay every 2 weeks? Yes, we do. Tremendous. Then the minimum contribution is $12.50 per pay. Okay, that's our minimum is $25 a month. So they say we pay weekly, it's $6.25 per pay. Okay? Almost nobody should say we can't afford $6 a week, and that gets them saving money automatically. And the truth is, it's all things for all people. This company, I mean, a 401k just plain doesn't make sense. It'll be a disaster. There's something called top-heavy testing. You can't have an owner with 2 rank-and-file employees that they switch every 3 or 4 months. A 401k just doesn't make sense. The payroll deduction plan definitely does. Another thing we can do is if they're doing well is what's called a SEP IRA. And a SEP IRA allows a business owner to exclude all employees that have not been with them for 3 years. Okay? So if you look at me as an example, I do a SEP IRA. Okay? With a SEP IRA, I have whatever percent I give to myself, I have to do the same percent to all my employees that have been with me for 3 years. What's nice about Primerica is, as you start making more money, you'll have a SEP IRA too. A SEP IRA allows me to put away up to $45,000 per year tax deductible. People say, well, I don't know about Primerica, there's no benefits. Well, in your job, you have a 401k, the most you can put away is, I think, $15,500. Last I checked, $45,000 is more money, right? So, yeah, there's a benefit to be self-employed. So bottom line is you can put up to $45,000 per year tax deductible, and now I have to match whatever percent that is of my pay to all my employees that have been with me for 3 years. Now, in my case, if you've been around 3 years wondering where your check is, the reason I don't have to give you guys a dime, I love to, I really would. I wasn't get mad at me as long as I don't, is because you guys are all 1099 independent contractors. The only W-2 employees I have is 2, my father and Christina. So they get a check every year, but that's the only people I can find. And what's nice about this for small business owners is if they can exclude everyone that's been with them less than 3 years, that wipes out the majority of their employees because of that high turnover in a small mom-and-pop shop type operation. Does that make sense? But this is also something they can do prior to April 15th. And unlike the traditional IRA, if they file an extension, I got a guy who was a lawyer client that he maxed out SEP IRA every year with me. It was $44,000 or $45,000 which year, and he always files 2 or 3 extensions. So he writes me the check on October 14th for the prior year. So he'll write me a check on October 14th for 2007. Okay? Because as long as you keep filing extension, you can keep on delaying when you gotta write this check. Make sense? Okay, so another tremendous opportunity to help these small business owners and educate them on stuff they don't know about. So either they're saying, oh, I'm making money, or oh, I got no money, it's the economy. So no matter what, we can help them out. So let's this is some stuff we can do for them on the product line and the benefit side. And on the totally switch to, and the last thing I'll bring up is we can also do what's called a simple IRA. And we just did an appointment, Chuck and I, with a company that's looking, and we went in there to propose a 401k. And it just so happens that they have about, I think, 40 employees, but they're a seasonal business that does like resort vacationing, whatever. So they make like no money for like 8 months a year, then a bunch of money for 4 months a year. And the bottom line is they're comparing us to someone else's 401k. And I just kind of said, the truth is, yes, 401ks have fees, and yes, you're adverse to those fees. I would drop this idea of the 401k, and I would go with a simple IRA. A simple IRA you can do as long as you have less than 100 full-time employees. And then it makes more sense for a lot of scenarios. I'm not getting the details for this, but generally speaking, here's how I do the math. If they got none or maybe 1 or 2 employees, if they're with them less than 3 years, I would do the SEP IRA. If they got, I would say 20 or less employees that are going to participate in something, I would do a simple IRA. If they got more than 20, I would do a 401k. Just to give you some clarification, some guideline in your mind of what to do and when to do it. So that's an awesome sale. The next thing I would bring up
should about business insurance.
What's that?
If you're a business owner and you have a business policy that's owned by the business, cover all your debts and stuff if you die, then that's taxable also, so you have to.
Let me pause a minute. Let's not do this question. This question down, let's hold off from there. We'll take them. They can't hear you, so just pause there. Okay, so now we're switching over to the topic of showing a business owner how to make more money these times. And quite honestly, I have a client that owns a gas station in Waterford. And and I said, "How is business?" They said, "It's terrible." People think that when gas goes up to the roof, the gas stations are making a lot of money. The oil companies are definitely making a lot of money. The gas stations really hurt bad. You know why? Because gas goes up and down every day, and they got to get competitive accordingly. But when they buy their whatever tank full of gas, they bought it on that day's price. Now think about that for a second. That's very risky, no matter what the scenario. If you bought and it was at $3.20, and then all of a sudden the next week gas goes down a lot, like 10 cents, and the competitor just bought next week, they can afford to market for 10 cents cheaper, and now you're either 10 cents higher than the guy a block away, or you don't sell any gas, or you lose money. It's a really, really tough business with gas prices, doing what they're doing. So bottom line is, I said I've actually one client that's already doing this in Dearborn. They own a gas station, and they're licensed with me, and he's now marketing auto and home insurance policies. Everyone walks in the station, and we're setting up the same kind of little display in this gas station in Waterford. Hopefully, not there by Monday or Tuesday. But either way, any business has any traffic whatsoever. Here's my thing. Nowadays, no matter what you buy, you can buy a pizza box. You know what's on a pizza box? They staple a bunch of coupons to it. And sometimes it's just coupons for pizza. Sometimes the coupon to go bowling. Buy 3 games, get 1 free. You ever see stuff like that in the pizza box? Everyone's looking for a way to market their services. But my whole thing is our service, our product, is a free financial needs analysis. So what if there could be a system in place, no matter what kind of business it is, to do that? I'll give you a couple examples. One is all around town, you see wireless stores, cell phone stores, right? I had a meeting with two different executives, one that owns Wireless Giant and one that owns Wireless Toys. And their models, they've got 60 to 120 cell phone stores, and people walk in, and a whole bunch of people walk in, rich humans business, waste their time and buy nothing. Is that right? It's true. They waste their time and buy absolutely nothing. Okay? So bottom line is we want a system in place that everyone who walks in fills out a little questionnaire. Could you want help in lowering what you pay for debts, insurances, saving for retirement, saving for kids' college vacation? And if you check this box, you get a free book called How Money Works. And they just, we want a system in place for them to fill this stuff out. And then every time, so if 100 people a day walk in, we're so bad, we only land one that's a client. And the average commission on a client is $1,000. Okay? Work with me for a second. Is an extra $30,000 a month such a terrible thing? They're used to doing business where they got to do math. So if we're horrible, an extra $30,000 a month. And they said, I believe we can get, I show them how good our products are. I show them all kinds, they believe we can get more than one client a day. So they're all excited. So one of the owners who spent a few $1 million last year advertising the Pistons and got nothing for it, he said, now he said, I can spend $99, get my wife a license and make some real money. It's better than spend a couple $1 million on commercials. Does that make sense? So I mean, and this is not weird and crazy ideas. It's every business owner out there that's a big business is looking for ways to get into the financial service business. This is not strange, and you've heard this before from me, but GM, Ford, and Chrysler were car-making companies. They opened up GMAC, Ford Finance, and Chrysler Credit. When you and I were kids, General Electric made toasters, TVs, washers, dryers, and blenders. And today, GE Financial is by far the most prominent company. And 4 or 5 months ago, Pitney Bowes and explosive engineers announced we're going to start marketing financial products to our clients. So they cannot tell you it's weird. I'm in the flower business. Why are you asking me to market financial products? How much more weird is a car company or a toaster company or a postage meter company marketing financial products? Everybody needs to realize that in today's day and age, if you're not adding financial services to your core business, whatever your core business is, you will struggle because you're going to feel the ups and you're going to feel the downs, and there's no sense of or source of residual recurring income. And that's what the financial service industry brings to the table. That's why these big Fortune 500 companies are so attracted to it, and that's what we can bring to the table for any small business owner, is you can add a GMAC no matter how small they are. Now, let me show you this for a second. Here's what every small business owner tries to do to get more income coming in. And we call this is a mistake, but this is what they're trying to do. We call this vertical diversification, okay? And I'll give you an example of vertical diversification. McDonald's, for a second. McDonald's owns restaurants that markets burgers, fries, and Coke, okay? Do you know what else McDonald's owns? So they own restaurants, right? And how does that food get to the restaurant? It's delivered in trucks, right? Do you know what they also own? They own trucks. They own their own trucks. They don't contract that out. And beyond the trucks, you know what else they need? They need the food. You know what else they own? They own dairy farms, and they own cows, and they own everything it takes to get that product from beginning to end to the consumer and cut out the competition. You know what else? Another example of vertical diversification is a real estate office. You know what they'll try and do? Is a real estate office might try to get involved in owning a title company, right? And then getting a piece of a mortgage company, and owning an appraisal company, and trying to make money off inspections that get done. Okay, here's the challenge with vertical diversification. Okay, at the end of the day, you're still a one-legged stool. If your industry has a decrease, okay, what percent of all your businesses also went down? Okay, if a real estate company did this, and the real estate market decreases, did every aspect of the business still go down? See, we teach not a vertical diversification. We teach what's called horizontal diversification. Okay, the best example of that is, Primerica, in my opinion. I've been here 60 and a half years, and every year my business grew and my income rose. Every single year. Okay, now look at this for a second. Here's the value of horizontal diversification. We do here lending, we do insurance, and we do investments. And look at for a second the late 90s. You know who boomed then? Was stockbrokers and investment people. Their income went through the roof. I had stockbroker friends tell me that their clients bought them a new set of golf clubs because of how well their portfolio did in 1998 and 1999. That's how good things were. And then September 11th happened. And then what happened with stockbrokers' income that year? Yeah, I had stockbroker friends from Merrill Lynch. I mean, how's business for you? They would say things like half of half, which is basically 75% less than it was at the peak. Okay? But you know what took off at the September 11th? People who gained in the mortgage business, and no offense to business business, but getting in the mortgage business who couldn't spell their name hardly, making $200,000, $300,000, $400,000 a year, because the biggest refi boom that ever happened in the history of this world happened just after September 11th as the Fed lowered the rates and, caused liquidity and blah, blah, and caused a mess. So the mortgage business was making money hand over fist, and the investment industry was down. Well, guess what Primerica does? And then what is it things like now? Now the mortgage business is way down, the investment business is okay, and insurance business is kind of, people are lowering costs there. So you know what? No matter which one is up and which one's down, at the end of the day, if you have a one-cylinder car, okay, your cylinder's either up or it's down. If you're horizontal, like Primerica is, I love sitting down with an owner of a mortgage company and showing the top earners in Primerica in like September 2004, which is probably very close to the peak, and then September 2007, which is when the bottom started to hit, in my opinion. Okay? And you talk to every person in mortgage or real estate, their income was severely down between 04 and 07. That was great times to horrible times. I show the front page, the top earners in Primerica, people that don't really work. And I look at Mike Sharp. He hasn't worked from 04 to 07. His income was up $600,000 per year. Now look at Brian Mayman, everyone in the company knows his strength is mortgages. The mortgage industry went kaput during those years. Yet his income went from $600,000 to $1.1 million. You know why? Because it doesn't have to go kaput if you also does insurance and investments and recruiting and training and everything else that we do. So my income is up to $250,000. And no one can understand that you don't have to, your income is only up and down if you're vertically diversified. It's never up and down if you're horizontally diversified. And that's what we teach a small business owner to understand. Does that make sense? So the bottom line is we're showing these small business owners, it doesn't matter what kind of business. Let's just kind of go through some for a second. If they're a flower shop, okay? Flower shops, last I checked, try to get wedding business, right? People are usually getting married, usually what's called newlyweds after they get married, right? It's like, right? Okay, so it's a great time. It's a great time for that couple to have a free financial needs analysis done. You know why? Because 50% of divorce in America the root of that cause is financial stress and disease and arguments over money. So what if that flower shop person can make the money off the weddings for the flower, or let's say if they're competing for someone's business between two individual flower shops and say, if you do the business with us, yes, we'll do a great job on your floral arrangement for your wedding. You'll also get a $1,048 value financial needs analysis after you get back from your honeymoon, where a professional will sit down with you and help you merge your finances, show you excellent ways of lowering your costs of taxes, debts, insurances, saving money for retirement, your future kids' education. This company has 50,000 families a month that switch their financial accounts. Okay? So would a florist be upset if now they can earn an extra $1,000 of profit off each time they land a wedding? Or if each person does, who buys flowers? Usually it's married people or people did. So everyone, they just say, here's a gift certificate, free analysis. So it's a cell phone store, a flower shop, a pizza store. I think Rob Haskey recruited a guy that owns a pizza shop in Saline who's giving away a little certificate for a free analysis with each large pepperoni pizza. Buy a medium, you don't get one. I'm kidding. The idea is it doesn't matter what kind of business. Every business out there needs to be aware that the big players who hired MBAs from Harvard and Yale, those people figured out for them, if we're not in the money business, we may not make it. Okay? All the small businesses are suffering this economy, and I'm supposed to suffer. And the truth is, they don't have to, as long as they copy what the big players did to survive these times. It doesn't matter what kind of business, enter into the financial service world and start enjoying that residual flow. Another example is again, it doesn't matter, like a plumber. Well, a plumber, if he fixes a toilet, the customers have the toilet got fixed, right? But then they see the bill, there's not one person ever happy to see a bill. So if he says, you know what, here's the bill, and here's a gift certificate for a free financial analysis, and here's a little sheet of paper, call this toll-free number, they might save you $300, $400, $500, $600 a year on your auto and home insurance. What if that client is upset about the bill, they thought it was going to be $90 and it's $160? What if they call that number and saves them $400 a year on their auto and home insurance? Okay? The client is thrilled because they paid $160, but they saved $400. They profit $240 this year and $400 each year because that guy came over to fix your toilet. The plumber's thrilled because he made $160 instead of $90, and another $100 off the auto and home insurance. Win, 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 win. Everybody's happy. Okay? So almost everyone out there is crying the blues over the fact that business is down right now, and they just plain don't have to be if they learn how to diversify with these systems. So that's the last thing I want to touch on, and I'm going to touch on this in a brief scenario, and then Ed Murray's going to do a great job covering this in a way that he's doing things different than I'm doing. And that is, I would say, leaders of religious organizations or pastors. Bottom line is they're all over town, so if I was parachuted to a new city tomorrow, I would want to talk to those people. I have two brother-in-laws who pastor churches, and they've kind of beat into me that Satan's number one foothold for destroying people financially is financial stress and financial disease. So if I'm sitting, and I've done this plenty of times, I was down with a pastor, I know Dan Terry, you've done plenty of seminars. Here's what I want to basically show. Is these four things, and Dan, this should not conflict at all with what you're doing, or Ed, I'm sorry. But I'm showing four things that we can do for a pastor and for the organization. One is we can come in and offer 3 free benefits for the church, okay, or the synagogue, or the whatever it is. Bottom line is 3 totally free benefits. My brother-in-law pastored a church in Down Creek Glen, they're in the family. They just celebrated their 100th year anniversary. They had 17 people on staff. And I said, do you have a retirement plan? And my brother-in-law was a pastor, senior pastor, said, no, we can't afford one. I said, I'll bet you can afford one. He said, I'll bet we can't. I said, here's how much it costs. He said, you wouldn't have bet. Okay? He had no idea. A 401k costs money to get set up. A 403b is exactly the same thing as a 401k, except it's for non-profit companies instead of profit. So bottom line is, how much does it cost to install 403b for a non-profit? It costs $0. They don't have to do a tax filing. It's just completely free as a benefit to nonprofits. So one of those 3 benefits is the 403b 7. Okay, if they have a 403b, it's probably an insurance-based plan. A 403b 7 is a mutual fund-based plan. That's the way to go. A second benefit for free is every staff member gets a free financial needs analysis. $1,000 value to help them lower costs and help themselves out. And then the third benefit is that payroll deduction plan. And if a youth pastor is thinking, I don't want to save for retirement right now, I'm newly married, we have our first baby on the way, we're living in an apartment, and retirement is the first thing in my mind, we need to save for buying a house, we need to save for our kids' education, and quite frankly, lots of those happened before I retired. So the payroll deduction plan allows them to save money towards buying a house, towards everything else that they need. Okay? That's a great opening line for what we can do for a church. And again, what's stopping you from visiting 10, 15, 20 churches a day? There's thousands of them around in every big city around. So you should, if anyone ever walks up and say, oh, bad news, got laid off my $100,000 a year job, only response you're getting from me is the word congratulations. You should never, if you go stop by 5, 10, 15 a day, whether it's churches or small businesses, how could you not Okay, how could you not get one or two a day to say yes? It's only the issue of leaving the house and going to work. Second thing we would offer to them is the opportunity to do seminars for their congregation. And Dan's done a great job with this and helped him build his business, picked up quite a few clients for this. Bottom line is I'll use Christianity because that's the one I understand. There's other religions out there, but in Christianity, Jesus Christ talks more about possessions, stewardship, wealth, and money than about heaven and hell combined. Okay? It is a prevalent, and the concept of stewardship is a prevalent theme from the beginning to the end of the Bible. So the bottom line is it's something people need to understand better. There's all kinds of other organizations that do this, but the truth is, in my opinion, all they do is give people in that church what I call the warm fuzzies. They're reading really cool scripture and they feel good about what to do to, what the Bible says about money, and then it's over, and a week and 2 and 3 and 3 months and 4 years go by, and not one thing changed. There's no practical application. So we can do this, and here's what I recommend if you want to do this, is I would recommend usually doing it on a Sunday, in the winter time or fall, not in the summertime, about an hour and a half to 2 hours after church is over on a Sunday. Okay? Let them go grab lunch and then come on back, and that way they're reminded in the announcements at the end of church. And then they go grab lunch, come on back. We have an RVP, Tim Van Border in New York, and the way I met him, I did a seminar for my brother-in-law who pastors this church. So I have an RVP from doing one of these meetings. So bottom line is, and you can do it where it's just one Sunday only, and Dan's done it where it's like 415 Sundays or something. Okay.
7 or 8.
Okay, 7 or 8, and you can choose different topics. So whatever they want. See, we can do one for 2 hours once, an hour once, 45 minutes once. We can do 3 hours for 8 weeks in a row. Whatever you want to do, we'll do it. We've got enough material. We have more material than anyone can. Plenty of stuff. And so, and we plenty of material you can, access for myself or others about what the Bible. There's plenty of great books out there. The Bible has to say about money, finance, and stewardship, and just teach that. And they're very likely. I hand out a questionnaire, basically asking them if they would like, feedback on what they saw, and they'd be interested in having a free analysis of themselves. My usual response is about, at least the majority, a very, very high percent of the majority respond, yes, I want the free analysis. Yes, I want a prep. So, but the key is, if it's in a church, it's got to be very low key, zero, pressure, and then it happens. And again, Ed's doing something fantastic. He'll share what he's doing. This is what I've always known. Use the best you can. A third thing I would say to them is this. It's a tough economy. People are always coming to you right now probably asking for prayer because they've been laid off, or might be laid off, or their business is doing terrible, or they're just playing at what I call a square peg in a round hole, can't stand what they do right now. So in that regard, I would just I would explain to them what we do, how we help people, and show them the book, the Financial Independence Council book, and look at all these people from all these backgrounds and walks of life that used to make $20 and $30 and $0,000 per year, and now make it $100, $250, $500, $750. And do pastors want the people making more money?
Oh, yeah.
Yes, they do. Yes, they absolutely do. Because the more they make, the more we can go to expand the kingdom. That's all a good thing. So bottom line is, if people are coming up asking for counsel with theirs, and now he knows what we do, you can say, you need to call Bill, because Bill is with an organization that's looking for people. It seems like a good program to me. You sit down with Bill. Okay? So everybody needs to know about that stuff and take advantage. Every pastor needs to know that our opportunity is available, because all they read about is layoffs and downsizing, and if the church needs opportunity, we've got a great one. So I would explain the opportunity. The fourth thing is, I'm a big believer that no one should ever say these words. Yeah, we're praying about if we should go visit that church or not. Yeah, I think those are stupid words. I don't think anyone should ever pray about if they should go visit a church. I think you should, if they're thinking about going to a church, I think they should go visit first and then pray. Okay, how foolish is it if you're talking to somebody and they're ranting on for a half hour about all you do, you should never, ever, ever go visit London, England. Don't you ever go there. It's this, it's that, it's this, it's that, it's this, that, and the other. Then at the end they say, I've never been there, that's what I heard. Okay, bottom line is, how could you ever promote a movie you've never seen? So the fourth thing I'm saying, and that's stuff I would say to a customer, my fourth thing is I want to do the free financial needs analysis on you, sir, because how in the world could you possibly recommend this unless you at least see what it can do for you and your spouse? And then you're a real testimony versus, I hope this stuff is good. So that's why I would explain that. So hopefully, these are two other things you can do, which is great daytime activity to help you build a business, and no excuse anymore. If you're visiting 5, 10, 15 of these per day, how could you not do at least one and one per day? Thank you.